Hi, and welcome to another episode of Mighty Pessimist. In today's video, I'm going to talk about why is it everywhere? This whole self-empowerment message. It's in social media. It's just about everywhere we look. In some places, it is understandable why it is important because so many feel useless, depressed, and don't know where to go for some sort of meaning in life. And so, discovering what you want to do and be is optimum. So, I'm trying to link self empowerment with the low birth rate and everything that is happening. So hear me out. No one is blind to the fact that in order to be a good mother or even just half-ass mother, you have to give up a lot of your free time, a lot of yourself, and only you do that. I say only you do that because that is the expectation. Whether or not, as I said, you are a half-assed mother or a full-blown mom, people expect you to give up everything. And so that is on one side. So we're talking now about what does this connect to self-empowerment, and what is happening with people talking constantly about the birth rate. Okay, so we have a situation where if people continue to make the level of children that they've made before, which would be one or two, or even two or three, well, we know it's been one for quite some time, but let's say two, we're going to have an issue. Because now what I'm noticing is everything that's happening around us is definitely all done to bring about quality of children versus quantity. And I say this because when you look at who can really afford to have children comfortably, it's the upper middle class, just about. And they will be able to have their children be in a really good situation. And while that might be unfair, if you really take a good look at history, nuclear family, all of this is a very new invention. It is not something that's been happening for ages and ages. If it has been happening for anyone, it has always been happening. Well, not always, but most of the time, it happens for the upper middle class, the aristocrats, people in high-level societies. It was never something that was commonplace with the common people. It's always been expected that children will be born out of wedlock, and when they were born out of wedlock, the mother was put in a workhouse. Probably haven't heard of that. And the children were put in school so they can prepare them to work in factories. So when you really see how that is done, it's clear that children are seen as workhorses for the masses. So let me correct myself. I made a mistake. Not for the masses, but for the upper elite. So the upper elites are the ones that are forming wars, making treaties, they're doing all these things. They're the ones that are putting money together to get bridges built, get highways built, things that make them more money. Okay, and we are the workhorses working for a salary, working for whatever money that they give us. So, of recent, they have been pushing a new agenda. And this new agenda is self-empowerment. Okay, self-empowerment is something that is a very attractive idea, and it didn't just happen out of nowhere. It wasn't someone in some back office coming up with some ideas. It's what's happened. It's something that was taken away from women, or ability to self-realize. And because so many women, that has been taken away from them, it's such a very important thing to us. So now we've been given this opportunity to do more than just be a mother, a wife. And we're given the opportunity to be what we want to be, do what we want to do, instead of putting motherhood and why being a wife at the top of our agenda. And this was able to happen because the stigma behind not being a mother and wife has sort of dwindled. It's not something that, is pushed on us. Definitely not pushed. So this quote unquote agenda, I really should call it a quote unquote agenda, because as I said before, no one is sitting in a room, coming up with us different ideas of how to dominate the world. Okay. So, but there was an opportunity. And this opportunity, as I said before, it came because women's ability to self-actualize was taken away from us. So that's happening. And so many are putting self ahead of mothering. And instead they're mothering themselves for the first time in a very long time. And with good reason, because now we're realizing AI is really challenging people's ability to do more. And so the jobs that once was the opportunity for people to make ends meet and for them to have a job where they can help take care of a family, those jobs are done. They're gone. They're going. And you're probably thinking, what could they be? They can be as simple as a cleaner, a cook, or a lawyer. So it's not just mediocre, quote unquote, jobs. It's also upper level type jobs like a lawyer. And more opportunities are being formed in areas where socializing, how should I call it? Socializing and interaction with people, or soft skills, that is being valued more than labor jobs like cleaning, cooking, jobs where you're basically parroting out stuff from a book, which is kind of like a lawyer, maybe in accounting, I don't know, but things that are very monotonous. So that's why you're seeing so much happening on social media, because those are more soft skill jobs where you're communicating, where you're talking, where you have to do interviews. And so if you look in the past, people who would typically master those jobs were women. And now men are learning to get into those jobs, and it could be a bit annoying. But these opportunities are vast for a reason. And here we stand at people not having children. So the jobs where the everyday American or person would do, they're going away because of AI. What are people to do? And here we go back to self-empowerment. Self-empowerment, because no longer is it required that you sit back, have kids, and multitask and do all these mediocre things like go to a 9-to-5 job. You're no longer required to do these things anymore. And I don't know how hard or how loud it needs to be said that this is the time to explore and find your skill, because when the hammer comes down on us all, people with skills will prevail. People who only know how to do things that an AI can duplicate, their jobs will be gone. We all must gather a multitude of skills. That's the only thing I can say. Your children will not be your future. You are your future. You are your future, not your children. And I think that will be the title of this video. You are the future, not your children. But for those of you who have children or have the money to really afford to give your kids the life that is required for the future, all your single friends, all the people who are working on their goals and growing internally, get them on board, because trust me, I'm sure they would have no problem pampering your kids, mentoring your kids, giving them opportunities, giving them an internship. Gather them around and say, hey, I can help you, you can help me, whatever I may need with my kids. Now is the opportunity to build that village that you've always heard about with your grandparents or whatever. Time to build that village. And in order to build that village, you're going to need a lot of single friends who has no children. So that's my aha moment. I hope you enjoy, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.